it makes it easier to bear.
What up, Bobcats? Welcome to another edition of From the Field to the Fans. I'm your host, Odus Evbagharu, and with me I have Cameron Cutshaw and Kirk Jones. How are you guys doing today?
Pretty good. Experienced some weather problems in a couple of games, so trying to get over the canceled softball game and a little weather delay last night at the a couple nights ago at the baseball game. So, just trying to stay dry.
Yeah, I thought spring was here. I guess it's not.
No. Well, the groundhog did see its shadow, so that's another 6 weeks of winter, as they like to say. Yeah, dealing with some weather issues. Baseball, they played Texas A&M Corpus Christi Tuesday night. Had a quick weather delay there, rain delay, so they had to work out some things there. Definitely going to talk about that. Talk about softball. Wednesday's game against Incarnate Word getting canceled, so they're going to look forward to the Mississippi Gulf Coast Classic. That should be fun. And then basketball. Men's basketball, they're going to play their last two home games here this weekend against Western Kentucky and Georgia State. The women playing Western Kentucky on Wednesday, losing by 30. Coach Antoine, my good buddy, is not going to be happy with that performance, and we're definitely going to talk about that. And they'll play Saturday against Georgia State on senior night, their last game here at home. But before we get and all that good stuff, we're going to take one quick break and hear a word from our sponsor.
I invented sweat, popping bottles, putting supermodels in the cab. Proof. I guess I got my swagger back.
We've done it. Since opening last fall, Vapor Essentials has provided San Marcos with the best in electronic cigarettes. Whether you're kicking the smoking habit or interested in the growing popularity of vaping, there's never been a better time to visit. Vaporize and customize with our ever-expanding inventory. All 100% authentic hardware from brands like Totally Wicked, Halo, and more. We also carry the best quality e-liquid by Texas Select Vapor, with nicotine ranges from 0 to 24. Try before you buy or just kick back at our full-service vaping bar. Our friendly and experienced staff will help you with all your vaping needs. Whether you're new or a familiar face, we'll be happy to provide you with the highest quality of customer service. At Vapor Essentials, we are consumers for consumers. We are your e-cigarette store. Stop by at 1515 Aquarina Springs or call us today at 512-878-8869. 18 and older, we ID.
Hey Bobcats, Otis here. Let's take a minute to talk about the University Bookstore and Fan Shop. These on-campus stores take care of all your Texas State needs, from books and supplies to Bobcat apparel and gifts. And the more you shop, the more these stores can give back to the students and organizations of Texas State. You can find the bookstore at the LBJ Student Center and the Fan Shop at Bobcat Stadium. You can also check them out online at bookstore.txstate.edu. Be sure to mention From the Field to the Fans and the Fan Shop for a 10% discount.
Need cupcakes or cookies for your sweet tooth, or maybe a custom decorated cake for your sorority or fraternity celebration? Pennington's Cakes has you covered. Since 1962, Pennington's Cakes has been providing some of the best tasting desserts in Central Texas. We bake our cakes, cupcakes, and cookies fresh to order with quality ingredients and lots of love and care. No matter the order, Pennington's Cakes will rise to the occasion. Every one of our creations is artfully decorated and memorably presented. Get 10% off your purchase when you show your Texas State ID. We also offer free wedding cake consultations. We're conveniently located at 1662 South I-35, right next to Thad Ziegler Glass. Come by or call us today and join our family of satisfied customers. Our number is 512-396-4059. 512-396-4059.
And we're back here talking Texas State baseball. Texas State baseball playing Texas A&M Corpus Christi, beating them 6-4 in 9 innings. Corey Geisler getting the win in relief. He's 1-0 for the season. Then Hunter Lemke picking up his first save of the season, I believe. It's kind of a shock. He's been in a lot of relief appearances this season. Kind of struggled a little bit as of late, but hopefully he gets it going again. But Texas State picking up a big win. You're getting RBIs from Paez and Hill, Lovejoy scoring, McElroy getting an RBI, Austin O'Neill getting 2 RBIs. Looks like the Bobcats are finally finding balance with the offense and the pitching.
Yeah, they're getting some depth from some bench players that are coming through. I mean, this team is deep. I mean, they have Austin O'Neill and Ben McElroy coming off the bench, which were both starters last year. So that kind of tells you how deep this team is. And the pitching has just been a surprise, in my opinion, just because, you kind of knew the offense was going to be there, but you're getting great starts from these freshmen like Corey Geisler, Austin Williams, Tyler Davenport, Dylan Bine. I mean, these pitchers are stepping up big time. They're all underclassmen, so it's good to see this recruiting thing that Coach Harrington is coming is bringing good recruits ready to play immediately.
Yeah, it's nice to find that consistency in winning and the depth early on, and because they're critical to the success in the beginning. So as the season goes on, what is it? We're like 7 games,
yeah.
six or 7 games into the season.
Like that, yeah.
So the earlier that can get going, you're gonna have the greater impact later in the season. So it's a great start so far.
Yeah, and Ty's talked about that all season long, that the depth of the team is what's helping this team out tremendously. If you look back at his 2011 team and some of these teams that have qualified for the NCAA tournament, they've had great depth, pitching staff, in the hitting, in the bench, in the bullpen, and it's really good to see it come together this year. And hopefully it comes together when they play Wagner. School from Long Island, New York.
Staten Island.
Staten Island. There's too many islands in New York. It never makes sense to me. But, from Staten Island, they're 0-3 against Elon. I think I know everything about sports. I don't know where Elon's even at, but they're 0-3. They've lost 3 games to them. And Kirk kind of has a preview for us a little bit.
I mean, they've only played 3 games, Wagner, compared to Texas State's 8, so obviously Texas State's more a seasoned team. But, I mean, Elon scored 32 runs compared to Wagner's, I think, 7. So that's only been 3 games. So Elon scored 32 runs in 3 games. You got to think that Texas State might be a little better than Elon, but this team, I believe, is going to get hit pretty hard. Texas State's rolling on hitting. They're scoring a bunch of runs. So look for kind of an offensive show this weekend.
Yeah, baseball is one of my favorite sports, where, as I can quote my Texas Rangers manager, Ron Washington, you can't predict baseball. And that's – so, I mean, I don't want to say, we're going to go out and get swept by Elon, but, I mean – it might happen, but I don't think it's going to happen. But I'm just saying the possibility's there where, we might not know anything about this team. But that can also come back and hurt us if we don't pay close attention to them.
I mean, Corpus Christi was, I think, 2-4. Yeah. I mean, they weren't the greatest team, and they hung in there for 9 innings the whole time. I was never thinking that Texas State had it in the bag because it was just kind of a back and forth game.
When we get off camera, we're going to discuss about the Rangers and putting them on this show, okay?
Oh, okay.
I got his back on this one.
Yeah.
Go Houston.
I got his back.
You're at number 2-1 here, Odus.
Yeah, and hopefully a guy that's going to stay consistent is Lucas Humple. He's a reigning pitcher of the week in the Sun Belt. Mm-hmm. College Sports Madness even named him the baseball player of the week. Against UC Riverside, he threw a complete game shutout, striking out 13. It's the most by any pitcher in the Sun Belt this year so far. The most by any Bobcat pitcher since 2011. Really impressive. UC Riverside, they came in averaging 8.25 runs, 13.5 hits per game, and a 17-hit performance against Washington State, which the Bobcats will face later on in the season. And they only got 4 hits off his 124 pitches. So it looks like he's kind of getting in a groove. He picks up the win. This is a Louisville baseball freshman All-American last year. Looks like he's going to have the confidence, and I hope he can sustain it going into the Wagner series. And hopefully the Bobcats don't take the team for granted. Take care of business. It's another day, another day at the office. And get this 3-game sweep and continue their win streak. And
Coach Harrington was a little concerned with their focus going into Corpus Christi. He said the focus was not there. He didn't know if it was because the game started a little earlier than expected or what. But he said he did not like the way they came out against Corpus Christi, and he's hoping that that intensity can kind of change going into Wagner. And it's good to see Humple having games like this because Texas State needs a legit Friday night guy where they can send him out. They know what they're going to expect and get a win every Friday.
Yeah, again, going back to consistency, it's nice to have those players where you can say Friday night, your night, or just in general, just with baseball. So I'd like to see they come out with a lot of energy to play. I know in softball they preach energy all the time. You know, they got to have high energy to win, basically. So I'd like to, hopefully that focus can stay there and the energy can also be there as well for the baseball team.
Yeah, and I think it will. I think they'll get it. You know, you don't want to get embarrassed at home, especially against a team like Wagner, who's lost 3 straight. To a school like Elon. Yeah. So, you know, they definitely want to keep that momentum. They want to keep that energy. Great segue there, Cameron, because the next thing we're going to talk about is softball. A pitcher that's doing really well is Rain House herself. Their game got canceled Wednesday night against Incarnate Word, but they're going to play Mississippi Gulf Coast Classic this weekend. And before we preview all of that, we're going to take one quick break and hear a word from our sponsors.
Last week I was in my other bins. All your diamonds up, cause we in this bitch another game. Photo shoot fresh, looking like wealth. I'm about to call a paparazzi on myself.
We've done it. Since opening last fall, Vapor Essentials has provided San Marcos with the best in electronic cigarettes. Whether you're kicking the smoking habit or interested in the growing popularity of vaping, there's never been a better time to visit. Vaporize and customize with our ever-expanding inventory. All 100% authentic hardware from brands like Totally Wicked, Halo, and more. We also carry the best quality e-liquid by Texas Select Vapor, with nicotine ranges from 0 to 24. Try before you buy or just kick back at our full-service vaping bar. Our friendly and experienced staff will help you with all your vaping needs. Whether you're new or a familiar face, we'll be happy to provide you with the highest quality of customer service. At Vapor Essentials, we are consumers for consumers. We are your e-cigarette store. Stop by at 1515 Aquarina Springs or call us today at 512-878-8869. 18 and older, we ID.
Hey Bobcats, Odus here. Let's take a minute to talk about the University Bookstore and Fan Shop. These on-campus stores take care of all your Texas State needs, from books and supplies to Bobcat apparel and gifts. And the more you shop, the more these stores can give back to the students and organizations of Texas State. You can find the bookstore at the LBJ Student Center and the Fan Shop at Bobcat Stadium. You can also check them out online at bookstore.txstate.edu. Be sure to mention From the Field to the Fans and the Fan Shop for a 10% discount.
Need cupcakes or cookies for your sweet tooth, or maybe a custom decorated cake for your sorority or fraternity celebration? Pennington's Cakes has you covered. Since 1962, Pennington's Cakes has been providing some of the best tasting desserts in Central Texas. We bake our cakes, cupcakes, and cookies fresh to order with quality ingredients and lots of love and care. No matter the order, Pennington's Cakes will rise to the occasion. Every one of our creations is artfully decorated and memorably presented. Get 10% off your purchase when you show your Texas State ID. We also offer free wedding cake consultations. We're conveniently located at 1662 South I-35, right next to Thad Ziegler Glass. Come by or call us today and join our family of satisfied customers. Our number is 512-396-4059. 512-396-4059.
And we're back for Kirk Jones, Cameron Cutchall. I'm Odus Evbagharu. We're going to talk a little women's softball. Wednesday's game, again, like we've been reiterating the whole show, got canceled Wednesday night against Incarnate Word. There's not been a word on a new date, but the Bobcats can take their attention and focus to the Mississippi Gulf Coast Classic, where there will be I believe like 8 other schools participating in this tournament. Texas State will be joined by Memphis, Ohio, Baylor, South Alabama, Lafayette, UTSA, Nicholls State, Chattanooga, and Mississippi State. If you kept count, my math is terrible. It's 9 other teams that'll be with Texas State. I was kind of doing the math in my head. And they're going to play, and they'll actually play Memphis, Ohio, Baylor, Nicholls State, Mississippi State. The teams they won't be playing, obviously, South Alabama, they'll play in conference. Lafayette, they'll play in conference. UTSA, they'll play in conference. And then Chattanooga, I don't know if they'll end up playing them this year. Cameron is shaking his head no. So clearly those other teams, we won't play them because they'll play them later, or they have played them. But I think it's interesting because there's Baylor, Texas School, only ranked team in the tournament, I believe, sitting at number 15, and then Mississippi State. They're 14-0 this season, outscoring their opponent 81-7 this season, and they've thrown 7 shutouts this season. Looks like the Bobcats' energy level is definitely going to be raised or needs to be risen this next coming weekend.
They need to bring everything they have. And I'm really interested to see how they perform in this tournament because they've performed very well so far this season. And I think this is going to be their toughest competition not all season, so far this season. And if they can get out of there if they can go 4-1, I think that'll be amazing. I think that'll show a lot about this team, and it'll really – I've kind of had the feeling all year that this team was special, but I think if they can come out of there, either sweep all 5 or come out with 4 wins, lose to one of those teams, that'll be tremendous, and I think they are sitting pretty as they head into conference play here in a couple weeks.
This seems kind of like a statement kind of tournament. They're playing Baylor, just down the road on 35, the ranked team. They've played some pretty good competition. This seems like the cream of the crop so far. They're playing the best teams, Baylor, Mississippi State, both big conferences. So it's going to be interesting. I know Mississippi State's not ranked, but it sounds to me like they should be if they're beating teams that bad and pitching really well like that. So it'll be interesting to see how they turn out.
I was going to say game I'm looking forward to, it's going to be kind of under the radar because I think Mississippi State and Baylor kind of steal the headlines.
Right.
But I'm wanting to see how they perform against Ohio because there's a player for Ohio named, I can't remember her name off the top of my head. She has 3 names. And Sandra...
I can't remember the name. It's like a 3-word. She's a pitcher. She's outstanding.
She's a pitcher. She's really good. Yeah. She leads the MAC in almost every single category, and she's tremendous. And I think if they come out there with her, I want to see how they perform because we saw how North Texas was able to silence the bats for the softball team. So I'd like to see how they perform and if they can get that focus and energy back as they head into this tournament.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that I agree with Kirk in saying it's kind of a statement weekend. It's the last tournament of the year before they start heading in a conference play. They're going to play some tough teams, Mississippi State, Baylor. They haven't beaten Baylor since 2011. Baylor spanked them last year. Trust me, I was at the games. Baylor, put a whoop into them. And I think they're going to be out for a little bit of revenge, especially a ranked team. I look for the Bobcats to show up against them. The Ohio game, that's funny because they're the Bobcats too. So it's the Bobcats versus the Bobcats. And that'll be an interesting matchup. Memphis playing the AAC. They're 7-5 this season, currently 5th in the conference in the AAC. We'll see how they perform. But another game, though, I'm kind of interested in is Nicholls State.
Oh, yeah.
They used to play these guys in the Southland Conference. I'm pretty sure, obviously, the players are different now since the Bobcats have left the Southland. But that should be fun, getting to play the old conference rivals, kind of stick it to them a little bit. We've moved on, and you're still in the same spot.
I kind of like those games. When they play UTSA and, Corpus Christi, all those teams were in the Southland. It's kind of fun to see where we were and now where we are now to where they still are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to say the Nicholls State too, but I thought I'd have to put Ohio in front of them.
Yeah.
But they're another interesting team. They're not doing so well this season, but there's always that threat. You can't protect ball.
No, I like but I like the Ohio matchup though. I agree with you because I do think that you put it on the head. They struggled against North Texas pitching. So clearly, if there's a weakness on the softball team, it's facing good pitchers. Mm-hmm. And if Ohio does have that dominant pitcher that they have, and unfortunately we can't think of her name right now, but if they have that dominant pitcher that you're talking about, it might be kind of a struggle, trying to put some runs up on Ohio. So I like that. I like that astute observation there, Cameron, and I look forward to seeing what the Bobcats can do this weekend. I think the Bobcats take 4 out of 5. I think they beat Baylor, but they lose to Mississippi State. Yeah.
I don't know. I think I'm going to say the opposite. I'm going to say they lose to Baylor and beat Mississippi State. Yeah, because I think we were talking about earlier how Mississippi State really hasn't played anyone too spectacular. So I think, they might run through it and then face Texas State at the very end and end up dropping that one.
I'm going to say they take 3 of 2. I think they're going to lose both Baylor and Mississippi State.
So it's like 3 of 5?
Oh, yeah, is that what I said?
No.
They're going to go 3-2. Sorry.
Okay,
excuse me.
go
Go
3-2.
3-2.
Okay.
My bad. Yeah, they're going to go 3-2 out of 5.
Okay.
I think they'll beat Memphis, Ohio, and Nicholls State, but they're going to lose to Baylor and Mississippi State.
Got a realist on the show. Yeah. Not just Texas State everything all the time. Sometimes we get caught in.
That's how I am 98% of the time. This is the one time I've ever said something real on this show.
Where he's like, no, Texas State is winning all the time. We can play Alabama in football. We'll take Texas State. Well, I'm not taking Texas State in this next subject we're going to talk about, and that's basketball. Both men's and women's, they're struggling right now as of late, and you don't want to be struggling right now with February disappearing and March approaching. It's not a good time to be struggling for either team. Men's basketball is struggling to find struggling to maintain a spot in the conference tournament right now. Women's losing Wednesday night to Western Kentucky and losing their number 2 seed by 30 at home. We're going to have an interesting topic to talk about. But before we do that, we're going to take one quick break and hear a word from our sponsors.
And all the ladies in the house got them showing out. I'm done, I hit you up, man. Nah. Welcome to Havana.
We've done it. Since opening last fall, Vapor Essentials has provided San Marcos with the best in electronic cigarettes. Whether you're kicking the smoking habit or interested in the growing popularity of vaping, there's never been a better time to visit. Vaporize and customize with our ever-expanding inventory. All 100% authentic hardware from brands like Totally Wicked, Halo, and more. We also carry the best quality e-liquid by Texas Select Vapor, with nicotine ranges from 0 to 24. Try before you buy or just kick back at our full-service vaping bar. Our friendly and experienced staff will help you with all your vaping needs. Whether you're new or a familiar face, we'll be happy to provide you with the highest quality of customer service. At Vapor Essentials, we are consumers for consumers. We are your e-cigarette store. Stop by at 1515 Aquarina Springs or call us today at 512-878-8869. 18 and older, we ID.
Hey Bobcats, Odus here. Let's take a minute to talk about the University Bookstore and Fan Shop. These on-campus stores take care of all your Texas State needs, from books and supplies to Bobcat apparel and gifts. And the more you shop, the more these stores can give back to the students and organizations of Texas State. You can find the bookstore at the LBJ Student Center and the Fan Shop at Bobcat Stadium. You can also check them out online at bookstore.txstate.edu. Be sure to mention From the Field to the Fans and the Fan Shop for a 10% discount.
Need cupcakes or cookies for your sweet tooth, or maybe a custom decorated cake for your sorority or fraternity celebration? Pennington's Cakes has you covered. Since 1962, Pennington's Cakes has been providing some of the best tasting desserts in Central Texas. We bake our cakes, cupcakes, and cookies fresh to order with quality ingredients and lots of love and care. No matter the order, Pennington's Cakes will rise to the occasion. Every one of our creations is artfully decorated and memorably presented. Get 10% off your purchase when you show your Texas State ID. We also offer free wedding cake consultations. We're conveniently located at 1662 South I-35, right next to Thad Ziegler Glass. Come by or call us today and join our family of satisfied customers. Our number is 512-396-4059. 512-396-4059.
All right, I've had Coach Danny Casper here with me. Coach, your team's tied with Troy right now for the last spot to enter the conference tournament. What message are you conveying to the team as February is disappearing and March is approaching?
Well, you know, it's really a matter of maturity and realizing where you're at. And I'm just trying to appeal to their, their sense that, hey, we got to give it everything we have for the next 2 weeks if we want to have a chance to participate in a big dance. We have let so many close games get away from us this year. And so I think we're not quite there, but we're very close. And we have 4 games. I think if we win 2, we're in for sure. If we win 1, then it may not be in our hands. I've conveyed that to the players and let them know that that really with 2 games at home and the 2 teams that we're playing on the road, this is ours to decide. How do we want to exit the year, on a winning note or on a losing note?
Coach, you have those 2 games at home against Western Kentucky and South Alabama. How vital are those 2 home games to getting that chance of playing in the Sun Belt tournament?
Well, I think every game is vital, not just home or away. We have 2 very tough opponents. Georgia State is leading the league, and they're going to be very, very tough. They've only lost 1 game, and that was somewhat of a fluke, that game they lost. But West Kentucky is one of the top 3 or 4 programs in the league right now, too. So it's a tough week, and we sure could use our students and our fan support. There's no secret when you got a good crowd, our players seem to play better.
Coach, it's no secret that you have Joel Wright, Phil Hawkins, Reed Cannon, all these seniors on the team. Is there anything that you expect them to do in this last stretch of games for the last 4 games that you're going to play this season?
That's a great question. Be leaders. Show leadership. Practice hard. Follow coach's instructions, and don't let little things like we had a technical against Louisiana Lafayette that really hurt us. Just emotions. We have to play with poise. We have to play with a lot of heart and poise and play together as a team. And don't stray away from the team plan that we're laying out for these next 4 games.
You're there from Coach Casper. Take 2, they're probably in. 1 would be a stretch. I think you got to win a little bit more than 2. I know they're tied right now with Troy for that last spot. Troy holds the tiebreaker because they beat them head-to-head. But Coach Casper had some interesting things to say. In that video, he looks worn out.
Yeah, some sleepless nights.
Definitely. Yeah. And he talked about how they've let so many close games go by. And the ability of their seniors, I don't want to say for them not to be leaders, but he's expecting them to step up. I mean, this weekend is going to be senior night when they play Georgia State. Joel Wright, Reed Cannon, Gordon Ball, Corey Stern, Phil Hawkins. I'm expecting these guys to step up this weekend.
I think Coach Casper is too. He talks about how this team is kind of immature at times, and that perfect way to cure that is to get some senior leadership and whip these guys into shape. Say, look, this is it. This part of the schedule is gonna make or break us. So if we gotta get 2, if Coach wants to get 2, we gotta get 2. And if anything less than that is a failure of a season.
I mean, it's kind of a little late to be preaching the subject, don't you think? With how many games do we have left? 3? 4 games left. 4. So I mean, shouldn't this maybe if that would have been done halfway through the season, you think maybe they wouldn't have lost so many close games, So I'd like to think that they will realize that the season's on the line now and now it's time to go. But also at the same time, I'm like, why didn't we do this beforehand? Why is it now? Why are we finishing this at the last minute? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no. I completely understand where you're coming from. We've been trying to keep in perspective all year that it's Casper's first year. It's not his players, it's not his system. But I think the reason why the message now is kind of get ramped up is because they still have a chance to be in the Sun Belt Conference tournament. And, for anyone that knows basketball, March is loony. They call it March Madness for a reason. Yeah. So, if you can just get into that conference tournament dance, anything can happen. Last year, believe it or not, Western Kentucky, it happened for them. Western Kentucky played Florida Atlantic or Florida International, where Richard Pitino coached the Florida team. And Western Kentucky beat them with a losing record. Yeah. Western Kentucky made the NCAA tournament with a losing record. So, the Sun Belt's notorious for that. They don't call it the Fun Belt for no reason now. I don't know if it's because it's a disappointing conference or not, but we'll just say it's the Fun Belt because they have a lot of fun. But, I think for the men, they definitely got to play Western Kentucky well. They lost on the road, 68-64 in the previous matchup. And they both teams turn over the ball for 21 times. Both of them shot below 50%. These are 2 top defensive teams in the conference. So I think in this game, something's got to give, especially for the Bobcats. They got to shoot the ball well. But the matchup I think I'm most intrigued with is Georgia State. Because Georgia State, I believe, is 13-1 in conference. They have the best record in the Sun Belt. And I just think that that game is at home. It's senior night. Yeah. And I think that game is the most important because if you can win that game and not have a close letdown, but you can pull it out. I think it gives your morale so much boost heading on the road. Because remember, these guys are closing out the season on the road, you know? So I think if they can just pull it out somehow, some way, Casper can get these guys fired up, I think that helps their momentum and psyche tremendously.
I think that would definitely be great if they could win that, but it was just such a defeating loss last time they played them. It was such a huge loss. It would be if they won this game, that would be shocking to me. But it could happen, you know, like the parameters that go into it. Senior night, last home game for these seniors. Maybe they can step up and play in front of a great crowd. So Georgia State, that is an interesting game. I think the interesting game is Troy because that's who we're tied with.
Yeah.
And if we can beat Troy, then you know the tiebreaker would come to us, right? If it came down the same record,
I think if we have the. I love talking about. I know we're getting ahead. But
yeah,
I don't care. I believe if we beat Troy and they have the same record as we do in the conference, I believe it goes to a one-game playoff.
Okay.
So it would kind of start. It would kind of start the postseason for the Sun Belt a little bit. So yeah, I think that Troy game is important, definitely. But for this weekend's perspective, I was just saying.
Exactly.
Yeah,
okay.
Just for this weekend's perspective.
Course,
no, Troy. If you're looking at the four-game picture, I think Troy obviously. But for this weekend, I think Georgia State's a little bit more than Western Kentucky because I think it does so much for the ego and psyche of the team.
Yeah, I preach that all the time when I'm dealing with sports. Anytime you get a close game or you defeat that top team, like that does everything. That changes your entire way you look at it. So you'll down on your luck, and the second something like that miraculous happens, like it changes everything. So if that does happen, I will say it on this show. They will win the Sun Belt. That's not gonna happen, but it might happen. As the theme of this week, I guess you can't predict ball. But
you can't predict ball. So I can't believe I'm quoting Ron Washington, but
yeah,
whatever.
you should predict.
But yeah, anything can happen, and hopefully it does happen for the men, and hopefully Casper can get these guys fired up, and hopefully they can play really well. Now the thing with them is no more moral victories. These close games, you got to win now. You know, you can't let some of these games hang in the balance. A game that was not close, women's basketball, and I hate getting on Coach Z because you know Coach Antoine and I we're good friends, but she got some explaining to do because they lost by 30 to Western Kentucky. Texas State now drops to 4th in the standings. Western Kentucky takes the number 2 spot away from Texas State. This game was held here, and that's what's even more shocking. It was a home game. Texas State's 9-6 in the Sun Belt. They're 12-14. Western Kentucky 18-8 overall, now 10-5 in the Sun Belt Conference. Texas State losing 75-45 to the Hilltoppers. Hilltoppers shot 47.2%. The Bobcats had not so much. 18 of 54 from the field. Shot 33%. Yeah, you're not going to win any ball games when you're doing that. And then you shoot 23.1% from the three-point line and then 50% from the charity stripe. You're not winning the game. You're just. I mean, if they're making hoops and you're not, you can see why they lost by 30 Wednesday night.
Yeah, I want to know what happened. Honestly, I mean, this was so uncharacteristic of them to lose by 30. I mean, I think that's the biggest loss unless they in conference loss. I guess.
And then I can't think of a loss that's been worse since the Texas one.
Yeah,
lost
Texas,
by like 60. Yeah.
But I mean, it's just I wonder what that kind of halftime speech from her was because they only scored 18 points and Western Kentucky scored 43, I think.
Yeah, 43 to 18.
Yeah, that is a lot. That's a huge difference. And I just kind of want to know what kind of her game plan going into it was. Like, look, we need to step it up. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's a deflating loss after a nice win streak they had, and then now kind of sputtering a little bit these last couple games. And it'd be interesting to see how they're going to pick it back up going into the end of the season.
Yeah, talk about a time when you don't want something like that to happen. You know, we're getting into March. You know, you have to win those games, and I hope they can rebound from this a little bit. I hope they don't let this hurt them too much in the long run as they finish out their season, and I think they can. You know, I think they're going to go to the tournament and they're going to do pretty well. They're going to. I think what was the standings at? Like they need like 2 games to clinch.
They just need one.
They just need a win. So even then.
And that's not even my concern. My concern is I'm looking at this box score. Kaylin Martin did not play. Ariel Anderson took in, so I can see why the the margin was so wide. Caleb Martin's instrumental part to the team, Aaron Peoples, only player in double digits, where Western Kentucky had 4. Aaron Peoples led the team with 10 points. The next closest was 8, Jasmine Balgus off the bench. Bobcats got to figure it out. They got to figure it out because they got Georgia State coming in on senior night. Georgia State's another team that beat them, that they're going to try to avenge that loss. It was awkward. It was the winter storm packs in Atlanta prevented them from playing the game on time. So they got to recuperate, rejuvenate, and figure out what's going on, because 18 points in one half of basketball is not going to win you very many games. And March is coming. You got to be playing your best basketball when February disappears and March is coming. You got to play better than this.
And Coach G's been saying that. She said that at the end of January.
Oh, yeah.
She's been saying that the whole time. They followed through that. It's just kind of the end. They're not really finishing. But I think, like you said, Kaylin Martin and Ashley Eze, those 2 players have to be playing at their best throughout the season. Because if they don't play, the team is going to struggle. Ashley Eze bringing down the boards, and then Kaylin Martin, organizing the team from the point. Those 2 players have to play their best for them to go far in the tournament and even win it.
Yeah, you can't say any better than how he just said it. No. He literally stole the words from my mouth. But
literally.
Yeah, literally. So I was going to emphasize Kaylin Martin too. She's the organizer. She is the game manager. She is Coach Antoine out there.
Yeah.
She is the key piece. And actually, I didn't know until just now when you said that she wasn't in the game, and that makes a little bit more sense in my head. So I don't know why she didn't play, but I hope they have her heading into the next couple of games for them.
Yeah, that same. I hope they have her ending the season, because it's not good to not see one of those key cogs in the game, and hopefully she's all right. Hopefully she's not hurt. I'm pretty sure we'll find out more from Coach Antoine when the week progresses. But yeah, women's basketball. Hopefully they keep focused. Hopefully they can avenge this 30-point loss to Georgia State when they played them Saturday on senior night. Hopefully the seniors step up. Ashley Eze and Kaylin Martin, the 2 seniors on the team. Hopefully they end up with a bang, and that's what Wes Davis said too. He said hopefully he can, with the men, they can end on a bang as well as the season comes to a close at home. But before we leave, we always got to do this. Final thoughts.
I'm going to go more of a national sport. He's been spoken about a couple times on the show. I'm talking about Ron Washington.
Okay.
His extension that he got, well deserved. I'm really happy about that. He got extended into 2015. He's won the past 4 seasons. He's won 90 or more games. He's been probably the most successful coach in the past 5 seasons. Took his team 2 World Series. This is long overdue. They should have at least got it in 2017.
Themselves.
2017, I think, should have been the year, but I'm good with seeing him till 2015.
I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Yeah, I was trying to drag it on a little longer just so Odus can think about that as he's thinking about his final thoughts.
As we end the show.
If you say anything about the Dallas Cowboys, I'm walking out this show right now.
There's nothing good I can say about the Dallas Cowboys.
Thank God, at least you know.
Other than the fact that we might cut DeMarcus Ware, but I'm going to end it right there.
Yeah.
So, no, my final thoughts are going to really all of the sport. We're in an interesting week. I was thinking as you were saying that a minute ago, it was like a lot of interesting things going on. I'd like to see how the next couple weeks play out. I can't choose one specific sport to really focus on because all of them are in such a critical place right now, and I think it's going to be interesting to see how it all progresses and plays out.
Yeah. My final thoughts are with Jason Collins. Jason Collins, what he did this week historically is phenomenal, being the first openly gay athlete to perform in a major North American sport. In fact, what's crazy about it is that he wore the number 46. His original number is 98. And for those of you guys that haven't been paying attention, it's a top-selling jersey in the NBA right now. And that's magnificent. That's really cool. And the reason why he wears number 98 is because in 1998, a kid named Matthew Shepard in Laramie, Wyoming, died because he was gay. Someone killed him and tortured him. And Jason Collins wears that number 98 because of the year that he died, and I think it's really cool. In fact, Obama in 2009 passed the Matthew Shepard Act. It's a hate crimes act, and it's really cool to see that kind of come together. And that's why we love sports, because it bridges so many things and it brings it together. And Jason Collins doing what he's doing, I know sometimes ESPN and Fox, they can overdo it sometimes, but then you put it back into perspective and you're like, man, we're living in probably one of the coolest times of sports ever. You know, we get to witness all these things. So Jason Collins definitely doing all that. That's really cool. And I hope Brooklyn keeps him. I know he's on a 10-day contract. And that's what's crazy. Yeah. He's on a 10-day contract. He's already got the best-selling jersey. So, you know, if people don't think that this is important to society, you're crazy. It is. It's a big deal. Whether you agree with it or you disagree, whatever. I don't care about that. I just think that is really neat, and I think it's really cool for sports, and that's why we do this.
Yeah, you got to feel good for Michael Sam now. I mean, he's got to have that have the jersey sell the most. Yeah. I mean, you got to feel pretty confident that he's going to do the same thing, or not the jersey sell out, but have the same kind of impact as he did in football.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I like what you said. It's one of the interesting times in sports. Yeah. I think this will definitely help out Michael Sam as we transition, as he goes into the NFL. And hopefully people will kind of look at him for what he is, a talent. He's a football player first, you know. And I just hope this is something that will be progress well. I don't know how to say it.
No, it's something that'll progress well. I completely agree. Something that'll progress well, you know. And hopefully people, you know, can take away the blinders and the tunnel vision and open up their minds and hearts and stuff like that. So that's really cool. But for Camera Cutsall, Kirk Jones, I'm your host and sports editor here at the University Star, Odus Evbagharu. And like I always say, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Build your fences, we digging tunnels. Can't you see we getting money up under you? Can't you see the private jets flying over you? Maybach bumper stickery, what we're overdue. Jay is chillin', Yay is chillin'. What more can I say? We killing them.